All right, what's going on, everybody? It's going to be a trade review for March 16th, 2023, the Friday. I should have got this trade review out earlier, to be honest, but got caught up in some stuff on the weekend, so I'm doing it right now. And I'm going to be going over my trades first, and then the overall um, tickers that I trade and see if I missed anything on them and what they were doing. And as always, just to preface, I'm a higher time frame trader that trades pivots and flags. And when I say higher time frame, I mean the 15 minute, the 1 hour, and the 4 hour. And so that's where I find my theses, um, and then I use like the 5 minute to execute essentially. So going into the first trade that I took on Friday, it was on Google, and it was you can kind of debate whether this is a flag or a pivot break, but either way, regardless, this was something that was in my system, so I decided to take it. And if I go and describe my system and explain the criteria, my system requires direction, clear consolidation, where the candles are forming under the level and respecting the level, no obstacles. And when I mean obstacles, I mean supply or demand. In this case, it's supply, right? Because it's a bullish setup. So you don't want supply interfering. And when supply interferes, when there's a fresh supply zone, that means that it's much harder for price to break through that level because that's an area where there will be a lot of short sellers and a lot of bears that want to slam the price down. And when there's more bears and more short sellers, it's less likely that the price will push up. And since I am a continuation trader, a continuation pattern trader, I want the price to continue. So since there wasn't any of that in the previous days, you can see like the last time there's any like supplies all the way back here, we're good to go essentially. So those are basically my criteria. It's also like looking at if it's super wiki or not, but I think the consolidation in respect to the direction is fine. You can see that there's this much direction versus the consolidation is um, much more tight compared to the direction. So all my criteria were pretty much fulfilled here, so I decided to take the setup. So let's see how it panned out on the 5. So you can see that the first 5 minute candle broke the level, and that's when I took my entries right at 9:30. Took my entries right here, and I was able to get a nice pop on it. Was looking for 102s. Got some scales up here. Of course, you want to make sure that when your trade is going the way that you want it to, you want to make sure you secure profits. This red candle, pretty bad knife, it looks like, for momentum. But I decided to stay in it, and as soon as I got into 102 ranges, I ended up scaling the majority of my position. Definitely could have gotten more out of it, but the knife that happened kind of spooked me. So yeah, I was able to just get right above 102 scales on it, and it was a pretty good trade. Definitely not like my biggest trade ever, only because I don't know Google's personality that well, so I decided not to size up on it. Although normally on 4 hours I will size up because they provide the best momentum and direction from what I've seen. But because I don't know Google's personality that well and I haven't traded it that often, I decided to just take it easy on it and take a lighter size just to test the waters, and it worked out nicely. So that was a pretty good trade. And you can see that it didn't follow through and continue up, unfortunately. And I think that was because context was pretty rough. When we go through all the tickers, you'll see how majority of things were just chopping around VWAP and not much direction. So that could be a possibility as to why this didn't continue up. However, I think I'm okay with the amount of um, reward I got in terms of the risk and based on the context. So that was the first trade on Google. Wasn't bad at all, and we'll take those. Moving on to the second trade, which was Tesla. If we look at Tesla, this was a 15-minute thesis for basically a 15-minute flag to the downside. And you can see on the 15, it didn't look like it gave much room, unfortunately, and it really didn't push down more, which sucks. But it was still a green trade for me overall, which I will take, over taking a red trade anyway. Of course, you want to follow your rules, but you want to make sure that when you have a system, it allows you to be green even on ideas that don't follow through well enough, right? So you can see that when Tesla broke here, here's where I entered into puts right at 11:20, got the entry right there, and we were able to get a decent amount of momentum off rip. You know, we got down pretty much a point pretty quickly within the next 5 minutes. So I got a lot of skills right there, and I think I had like one or two contracts left to ride because I just knew that since context was choppy, I didn't want to leave a lot to ride. So since I didn't have any didn't have a lot of size in my riders, I just kind of waited, and you can see that the next candle popped up right back and closed above the level, which is usually a bad sign on the 5 minute itself, knowing that momentum is slowing down. Usually on these plays, you want to see fast momentum and continuation downward. And that was already a red flag there, and I pretty much got out of the rest of my position um, as the next green pop happened because I knew that this is just consolidating and trying to push back up. So this was overall a green trade because I got a lot of scale down at 177.25 because that's a psych level in terms of sense. That's normally where I like to scale whenever I look for scales. You'll see that when this break happens, there'll be psych levels that you can look at. So like when 178.25 breaks, which is our break level, you can look to scale at 178 if you're uncomfortable. You can look to scale at 177.5, 177.75 even. And I got a majority of my skills at 177.25 because I just wanted to secure a majority of profits, especially considering the type of day it was in terms of context. So not a bad trade either. But yeah, those were my two trades essentially. Looking forward into what the other tickers were doing. As you can see on AMD, not much direction at all. This is very choppy. No opportunities here in terms of my system. Even on the 5, it looks pretty bad in my opinion. At least to see what I look for, it just looks like a bunch of chop. Even on the 1 hour, it looks that way. 15-minute looks the same. So no opportunities there. Amazon had something pretty similar to Tesla, if you remember what we just looked at on Tesla, but no follow through on that too as well. So could have tried Amazon as well, but I was more focused on Tesla because it looked more directional to me. Because Amazon it looks like it's moving down pretty rapidly, but this just goes from 99.5 to 98. It's not like I don't know. Tesla moves much better usually for me, and if we compare Tesla to Amazon, this looks like it has more one color direction. Whereas, like if you look on Amazon, this looks like it's definitely fighting here. And this green candle I don't like when I'm taking continuation patterns downward for puts. So definitely could have taken it, but I was focused on Tesla, and it was pretty similar result essentially. You could have gotten green scales here, but your riders most likely would have been stopped out. So moving forward to QQQ, similar kind of to Tesla, but I don't like these first initial candles. I think there was actually a 4 hour on this that I was looking at. Yeah, there was. I was looking at a 4 hour on this, but it just didn't work out, and I was hesitant to take the break here, knowing that the the pivot is already delayed into the 4 hour, right? You want to see this candle touching here and then candles respecting that. There's only one candle that respects it. So it's like this is considered the consolidation. This is still considered the move, right? Whereas like if this topped out here and then came down and then consolidated, all those candles would be considered as consolidation. Here, this just looks like this is the move. This candle is a move going up. This candle is going up. This candle's the move going up. This candle's the move going up. Here's where it tops out, and then that's when it's consolidating, quote unquote, right? And you can see that it doesn't continue up because it's making a curving pattern, like a U essentially, instead of like a move up and then consolidation, right, and then a pop, right. which is what we want to see, or at least my system wants to see. Whereas this is just here, here, here. It tops out there and then starts going down. And then it attempted the break, but failed and went down, right? So obviously in terms of continuation, this looks like a much better pattern versus this, right? So it's all about the direction and the consolidation, right? This I can't consider consolidation because there's no level respect here, essentially. So yeah, just something to note and keep in mind if you are a flag or pivot trader like I am. But yeah, let me delete all this and then we can move on to SPY. I don't see anything here on QQQ on the 1 hour, 15-minute, or even the 5. So moving on to SPY, probably something similar since they're both indices. Nothing really here or here. It's just under VWAP and just no direction, even though it is under VWAP. So nothing really there. Tesla we talked about. I took the trade on that. You see it's directional and then consolidation and then a break. Apple, same thing. Just a lot of chop and tangling around with VWAP. IWM, I don't know what this is. That's crazy. But if we try to zoom in, yeah, something, Jesus Christ. There's something similar there, I think, to, it's gonna take forever, dude. Yeah, there we go. Something similar there, I think, to, oh, okay, yeah, here. Yeah, something similar to Tesla, but there's no like candle respect here, you know, where it's like each candle is breaking a new low. Like here's a candle, it's lower, lower again, right? There's no like push up and a break or consolidation, candle respect, and then a break. So wouldn't have taken that because that's not in the system and that invalidates one of the rules. But yeah, nothing really here. Just similar to SPY and QQQ, just under VWAP and just chopping. NVIDIA, same thing, just lots of chop. I was looking to see if this could maybe consolidate up here on the 15 and then break, but I was still very hesitant. I would have been hesitant to take it even if it did that because of this huge wick, right? You don't really want to see like there's a huge wick here on this candle, huge wick here on this candle. This candle has got a huge wick, right? You don't want to take flag breaks like that. An example of that is actually Apple that I took earlier in the week. If I can find it real quick. Yeah, I think this one might be it. Yeah, I think this one's it. Where it's like you see it's very wicky, and the break happens, but it closes underneath, and then it comes all the way down to VWAP, and then it breaks. You got to be careful. You want to look at the consolidation in relation to the direction, right? If the consolidation is so wicky that it doesn't look, if like the consolidation looks bigger or like big in relation to the direction, that's when you know it's wicky, right? You want the direction to be very clear compared to the consolidation. So yeah, that's one thing to note. Like you can just compare these setups, right? Like even this is like very wicky, but luckily there's a break happened nicely. So yeah, just something to note. And it comes with time, of course. I still make the mistakes here and there in terms of my rule set because sometimes it can be subjective. But in terms of Apple, sorry, no, I already looked at Apple. NVIDIA, yeah, nothing really, just chopping around with the VWAP. So I think that pretty much covers the trade review and the review of the tickers that I trade. Gonna make sure to study up and make sure to keep refreshing my eyes to know what to look for. And gonna go into the week strong. Hopefully, if you guys are traders, you guys do the same. Make sure to journal up, study up, and hit the market again. But yeah, I appreciate whoever's tuning in and watching. If this helped you, let me know in the comments. If you have any questions about my system, let me know in the comments. But yeah, other than that, I will see you guys soon. Peace.